You wake up and you're already tired. Your body moves, but your mind, it feels like it's dragging chains behind it. The day hasn't even started yet, but somehow you already feel heavy. Your thoughts feel foggy, your chest feels tight, and even the silence seems loud. You look around. Everything looks normal. Work is waiting. Your phone starts buzzing, messages, emails, opportunities that feel more like demands. And the world, like a broken record, keeps repeating, "Come on, you got this. You can do it." But here's the truth. Maybe the part no one's ever said out loud. You're not just tired, you're not just stressed, you're sick. And it's not just in your head, it's not just in your body either. It's in the very air we breathe, the society we live in. We live in a time where pain has no face. There are no cages, no bosses screaming at you, no one standing over your shoulder shouting, "Work harder." But somehow this version of life, it's more brutal, because now the command isn't coming from the outside, it's coming from inside you. That little voice, the one telling you that you need to do more, be more, achieve more, that whisper is always there. It doesn't scream, it doesn't threaten, it just persists. And because it sounds like you believe it. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls this the society of performance, a system where we think we're free, but we're really trapped. Not by fences, not by rules, but by the idea that every second has to be useful, that every action must produce results, that if you're not constantly moving forward, you're falling behind. And when you do stop, when you take a breath, when you slow down, you feel guilty, like you're wasting time, like you're wasting yourself. This is what burnout really looks like, not the kind that a weekend off can fix. This is existential burnout. The kind that hollows you out inside while on the outside you keep smiling and saying, "I'm fine." If this feels familiar, it's not a coincidence. It's because you're inside the system, and the system is built to make you feel like this is normal. But it's not. This video isn't about pushing through or working harder. It's about waking up. Because maybe for the first time, someone's telling you, you're not weak. You're just a human being trying to survive in a society that turns strength into sickness. Take a breath. Let's talk about this. You're not alone. So here's the real reason you still feel exhausted, even after 8 hours of sleep. Why you feel anxious, even when nothing's wrong. Why you feel disconnected, even in a room full of people. It's because your soul has been trained to run, but has forgotten how to stop. And no one ever taught you that stopping isn't weakness. Stopping is a reunion with yourself. See, in stillness, you start hearing things the rush kept hidden. In the pause, you begin to notice how wounded you really are. And in the emptiness, something powerful happens. You finally start to rediscover who you are without all the layers of productivity stacked on top of you. But here's the catch. That return to yourself, it takes courage, real courage. The courage to slow down, the courage to face the discomfort of doing nothing. The courage to sit in the emptiness long enough for it to become fertile ground. Not just a void, but a space where something real can grow. And most of all, the courage to say no. No to the constant pressure to perform, to always optimize, to constantly be on. This is one of the most powerful and radical ideas in Byung-Chul Han's work. The idea that not being able isn't a flaw, it's freedom. Now I get it. At first that sounds strange. We've been raised to think freedom is all about having more options, more power, more autonomy. That the more you can do, the freer you are. But what no one tells you is that this freedom comes with chains. Because once you have the power to do anything, suddenly you have to. If you can work, you should. If you can hustle, you better. If you can succeed, what's stopping you? And if you don't want to, or can, or are just exhausted, well, now it's your fault. In this model, there's no room for fragility, no space for limits. Everything has to have a goal. Even rest isn't really rest, it's just recharging, so you can get back to producing. But what if not wanting to improve isn't failure? What if not answering every message, not chasing every opportunity, not always being available? What if that is actually resistance, a quiet rebellion? What Han calls not being able is actually a powerful refusal, a way to break the spell of infinite productivity, a way to say, I am not a machine. I don't have to earn my right to exist. And when you give yourself permission to say no to the noise, to the demands, even to your own inner critic, something shifts. You don't have to chase yourself anymore, because for the first time, you're already here. And that might be the most revolutionary act of all. But don't get it twisted. This kind of freedom isn't easy. It's not peaceful at first. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to sit with everything you've been avoiding. It asks you to look directly into the void and say, I accept not being everything. I accept not doing everything. I accept just being. And that goes against everything we've been taught. That's why so many people burn out while trying to heal. They think rest is just another task on the to-do list. That self-care is just another way to boost productivity. That meditation should help them work harder, not feel deeper. But this isn't about optimizing. It's about letting go. The real challenge isn't to hustle harder, it's to be able to stop, to say, enough. And when you start to see that no as a doorway, not a dead end, something opens up. You begin to feel a different kind of strength, not the kind that comes from pushing through, but the kind that comes from surrender. A quiet, grounded peace that doesn't need to prove anything. Because here's the truth. A truth you've probably felt deep down, but never had the words for. Burnout isn't just tiredness. It's not just a rough patch or a lack of motivation. It's your soul's alarm system, a full-body protest, a final red flag waving at a lifestyle that's become unsustainable. It's your spirit saying, this isn't working. Please listen. And if you've made it this far, something in you already knows. You feel it, even if you don't know what to do with it yet. Let me say this clearly. What you're feeling isn't weakness. It's not a lack of resilience or grit. It's a completely natural response to a system that asks too much, too often, and never gives anything real in return. A system that turns people into avatars of performance, into content, into brands. And in that transformation, something deeply human gets lost. Han doesn't describe burnout as a personal failure. He calls it what it truly is, a collective symptom of a broken culture, one that worships efficiency, despises silence, and fears stillness. So no, you're not alone. That pain in your chest, that never-ending tiredness, that feeling like something's off, even when everything should be fine. That's not just you. That's the soul of a whole generation trying to speak. And maybe it's time to start listening. You don't need to have the answers. You don't need to fix it all right now. The first step isn't action, it's awareness. So if this resonated with you, if something in you whispered yes while watching, drop a comment. Let me know what you're feeling. Say it out loud, because that's how healing begins. And don't stop here. The next video is just as important. Transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens in layers, in quiet moments, in small shifts, in deep reflection. You don't have to become a new person overnight. You just have to come back to who you already are. More whole, more honest, more free.